Hello! So I have some DIYs that I have been working on that I want to share with y'all. First one, we're going to do a bottle cap chain. I saw someone online had one of these. I have not seen a tutorial for one, so I had to just kind of like figure this out on my own. I've been collecting bottle caps for years. So a lot of these like Coca-Cola ones, super old, from like when I was still in high school. My stepdad used to get me a 6-pack of Cokes in the little glass cans every Christmas. So these are old, and then I got some new ones like the Yarritos and the Mike's Hard. Collect those. You want to flatten out the sides, like where they would actually be on the glass bottle. I've got this dowel tool. This came with just my studs and spikes as like a way to help put them on stuff. I just ran it through this. It worked perfectly fine. I did accidentally stab myself at one point, so beware. But it works. If you don't have one of these tools, that's okay. You can just use a hammer and a nail, or a hammer and a screw. Whatever random sharp object you have would probably work for this. And I just do that, and then I make sure the holes are lined up. And then I've got these little jump rings. You can get these like at Walmart or whatever, super cheap. And I get the larger ones, and I just use one of those. When you pull apart a jump ring, you want to make sure you do it like this, okay? You want to make sure that you don't pull it away from each other, you pull it to the side of each other. I don't know if that makes sense, but you just attach it to the two bottle caps with the inside facing together, and boom, you've got one part of your bottle cap chain. And then you close up the jump ring by pulling the both sides close to each other, and that's how it works. You attach the next one, and you got your start to a bottle cap chain. I love this project because it's so nice to be able to just use little trash. And you know, I'm a bit like a crow in the way that I like to just collect little pieces of junk. And so this was really nice to like just use up little pieces of junk. And you can make this as long as you want, as short as you want. I made mine just to attach to my pants, so I could use it as like a chain. But you could make like a short one and attach it to a bag, or, you know, whatever you want to do. It's a great way to use trash. We love using trash. Like I love being a little raccoon trash monster thing. I don't know. But there is the bottle cap chain. Just gotta repeat this, you know, however many times, and then you can make it as long as you want. If you want, another idea I had was you can take like just some Mod Podge and like cut little pictures out of magazines, or you can print the pictures off, whatever you want to do, and attach them to each of the bottle caps if you want to like customize it a step further. I might eventually do that. I haven't done it yet, but I think that could be a fun little thing. Just make sure the paper is sealed, so that way if it gets wet, it won't get damaged or whatever. And I just attach these two jump rings and then I can put it on my pants, and I can walk around with trash on my pants because I'm a little trash monster. This next project, super simple. I just made myself a little bracelet out of scrap pieces of fabric and my studs. I love getting studs because it's just super easy to put on stuff and you can customize anything you want with them. They're great. The studs in the bags are from Studs and Spikes, which I got those when I was in high school, so that was like probably a decade ago. But they're really good quality, they're nice and thick, and they're good. They're good quality. I really like them. What I just did is I thrifted some ribbon from Goodwill. It was like 99 cents. I got 18 feet of black ribbon for 99 cents. That was super great deal. And I just backed it with a piece of scrap denim because the ribbon by itself is pretty flimsy. You don't want to just use the ribbon. So you can just back it with a piece of scrap fabric. You could probably layer a few pieces of the ribbon together. You can kind of see the denim right here. And that, it just makes it a little bit stronger, a bit better at holding the studs. Because like I said, the ribbon's pretty flimsy, but I just use my little dowel thing, whatever it is, and then like a clay tool to make the holes a little bit bigger. It's better to do this rather than cutting the fabric, because if you use the dowel, you're just kind of moving the weave of the fabric apart, and so you're not cutting any of the threads, and it makes the whole thing stronger than cutting it, so you don't have to worry about any of the holes getting bigger because you're just moving the threads apart. And this is just a fun little project. I really enjoyed doing it, and I did the same thing for a choker I made with the longer spikes. And I just cut some thread. I just used white to make like a kind of contrast. I thought that looked cool. And the white and black goes with anything, so it makes it super versatile. And I just did a whip stitch along the sides, on both sides of this, just because the denim and the ribbon that I just used like a glue stick to hold them together while I was doing the project. If you get like a nice fabric glue that won't deteriorate, that would be great, but I whip stitched them together, and then I attached both sides together with safety pins, and then for my choker, I just made the ribbon long enough to where I could tie it in the back. And it turned out super nice. The denim makes it nice and strong. It's great. Next project, I did, I have this old bag. I thrifted this in like 2018 and 2019. Somewhere around then, pre-pandemic, definitely. It was a really nice bag. It's made by the same company that makes the Swiss Army knives, and it's got a bunch of like little pockets and stuff. It's like super versatile, it's good enough where I can carry around like my little notebook and my wallet and stuff, but I could also put some other stuff in there. Like, it's big enough for my drawing tablet if I needed to carry that around with me, my like iPad. If I needed to carry that around with me, it fits in here perfectly. And so, but I didn't like the front because it had some faux leather, plastic leather, really, and it was peeling and it looked super nasty. I didn't like the way it looked, and I just didn't like the front of the bag. It looked too plain for me. I have to customize. I have to do this, or else I start freaking out, okay? So I just covered it with a piece of green canvas. I bought this canvas to make patches, so, you know, I already had it, but you could also just use any kind of like scrap fabric, or you could go to the thrift store and find some fabric. I love getting what I like to call orphaned flat sheets from the thrift store, where it's just like a flat sheet with no fitted sheet with it, so it's basically a giant piece of fabric. That's a super good thing to get if you want to do a project like this. They're very common. My little orphaned flat sheets, I love getting them. What I just did is I did just a running stitch around the edges to attach the canvas to the bag, and then I added a couple of patches. There's only one right here, and then I added some spikes and studs just for a little further customization. And I really like it. I love carrying this bag around now. It actually feels awesome. Like, I feel like it shows off my personality. But yeah, I didn't finish adding the studs here, so that's why there's not a lot on the top, but I really like it. I think it turned out great. Next project is just a little pin, because I wanted to make some pins to add to my bag. So I saw a TikTok talking about this, so that's where I got the idea. I will put the creator of the TikTok in the video. But I just used the bottom of a soda can. As you can see, you just gotta cut that. Be careful because metal is sharp. I do end up sanding it, so it's not as hazardous. And you don't really have to sand it too much, because I do end up, I cut out pictures from magazine to use to put on the soda can, whatever, pen, and I just flipped it around the edges, and so the edges aren't super exposed. See, I got these old seed catalogs, that's what I used, and so the edges aren't as exposed, so it makes it a little bit safer, and plus they're just going to be on my bag. But if maybe you want to use this on clothes or whatever, just make sure you sand down the edges so you don't get a cut, because getting cut with aluminum, it's like a paper cut, but 10 times worse. And what I just did is I cut out pictures of native plants. These are cultivated varieties of native plants, like this clematis. It's, you know, natural clematis doesn't look like that, but it's very pretty. I like the purple and the red. It's a very pretty plant, and I've actually thought about getting that plant for my garden. But I just use Mod Podge to attach it to the soda bottom part of the can. I don't know what they call this, the bottom part of the soda can. And it's gonna be, here a tip, because this was my first time doing it. If you're gonna do this, if you just cut little tiny slits along the edges of the circle that you cut out of the magazine, it'll help it lay flatter. I've got a few wrinkles in mine because I didn't do it, which, I mean, isn't awful. You don't really notice when you're standing at a distance, but if that's something that could like irritate you, if you're a bit of a perfectionist, just cut some little slits around the edges and it'll help it lay flatter. So pro tip for you. And then I just covered it with Mod Podge again. You just want to make sure the paper gets kind of wet, and that helps it mold to this convex surface that is the bottom of the soda can. Yeah, I just did this for all of them, and then I ended up going back and I cut out some little words to add to them, like the rutabaga. I just put rutabaga love, and then on the clematis I put sun revolution, and then on the echinacea I added bee's cradle, and then I just covered them with a glossy varnish because I have matte Mod Podge and I wasn't really liking the way the matte looked. I preferred it to be more glossy, and it came out super nice. I love how glossy they are. The back, as you can see, I just did a I just, what do you call this? I bent the pop tab for a soda can, and I just glued that to the back. I think if I were to do this in the future, I would just get pin backs. I think that'd be easier, and if I plan on making a lot of pins, it would just be useful to have those. But I was trying to use as much little pieces of trash to make this project as possible. Here's another pro tip that I would have done differently, is I would have just went ahead and weaved the safety pin into the pop tab whenever I was gluing them down. I wouldn't have done it like this. I would have just put the safety pin in there first and then glued it down. It would have been a lot easier than trying to do it afterwards. So, pro tip for you. And this is how it looks all on my bag. You can see I added another patch. I think it looks really nice. I'm not trying to add too much to my bag at once, but you know, slowly add stuff, and I think it looks really great, and I'm super happy with it. So that was just some fun little simple DIYs. I hope you liked it. You know, I like using trash, as I stated previously. I did these because Solarpunk Aesthetic Week is coming up. It's the 16th through the 22nd. I am 99% sure that is the week of Solarpunk Aesthetic Week. And so I wanted to make some stuff to share on Tumblr with all my Solarpunk mutuals. I already shared the bag, even though it's too early to do it at this point of recording, but a lot of people like the bag, so I'm super happy. You know what, people like the bag, people like the pins, people thought it was cool. I'm happy, I'm good. Peace and love on planet Earth, you know. I want to make some more DIY videos in the future, so maybe look out for that if you want to watch it. This is YouTube. You know what to do. If you enjoyed the video, go fuck yourself.